the secretary as a former president of UP. Um, it's all over the news that our proficiency in the English language has dropped. There's a hearing going on in another hearing room right now on the use of mother tongue, and we brought up the statistics on how every year the dates I have were 2013 to 2020, and our proficiency dropped every year. So that's just my question. Has DTI been involved in any way on this issue?
If I understand the question correctly, Senator, you're asking about English proficiency?
I will repeat my question. Has DTI been involved in any way on the issue of English proficiency, given that it is a factor in job creation or employment? And my understanding is since the mandate of DTI is to promote business, it's a big factor. The English proficiency of our people is a big factor. So that's my question. Because you hear businesses talking about it all the time. I'm sure His Honor has dealt with BPOs, and they have expressed their concern na ang hirap ng makakuha ng personnel who have proficiency in English.
English proficiency, wala tayong
Anyway, since hindi naka-off yung mic ng staff nyo, narinig ko na yung sagot na wala tayong ganyan. So may I just know from the Secretary then, is if he agrees that it is a concern that the DTI can look into, can help, if it will help promote more businesses, if this is in fact a valid concern of a lot of businesses in the country.
Well, Madam Senator, we're doing our part in terms of getting our Department of Education, be conscious about this. And in fact, in one of our cabinet meetings, there was already a statement that we will enhance again the teaching of English in our schools. From our own experience in DTI, the value proposition of the Philippines is it's in having a large number of young people and our ability to speak in English. But our own observation is that the quality of the proficiency of our young people with respect to the English language has been on the decline. And will really need to be attended to by our educational system. So we will, what we're doing, if you ask us what we're doing, we are reminding and alerting our educational institutions of the expectations of investors with respect to the English proficiency of our workers. That's our advantage, and we need to make full use and really develop that advantage further.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That answer, Mr. Secretary, is satisfactory to me. You're right. It is mostly with the Fed. I just wanted to be sure that DTI recognizes the issue, that you have heard the same sentiments from the business sector. And as I said, your answer is sufficient for me. Thank you. I'll go on to another topic, Your Honor. This is on the implementation of RA number 11900. This is the short title nito is the Vaporized Nicotine and Non-Nicotine Products Regulation Acts, or the e-cig and vape law. I understand because I chair the budget hearings of DOH that DTI has gotten in touch with them on the formulation of the rules and regulation. You can I'll just throw you a couple of questions and you can respond in one go. I also monitored earlier the questions of our colleague Senator Tulfo on his concern on the instant noodles. So may I know from the Secretary how they intend to handle the e-cigs and vapes, considering that it is a harmful product, and DTI is now tasked under the law to be in charge of the registration of these harmful products. I won't, I'll let you answer from there, Your Honors, Your Honor, Mr. Secretary.
The draft of the implementing rules and regulation of the law has been completed, and it's ready for circulation to concerned agencies and public consultation.
Okay, but may I know specifically, Mr. Secretary, how you intend to handle a similar question?
Some process will make it mandatory, sir,
Mm.
for,
Sandali, hindi pa tapos yung question ko at naririnig ko na yung sagot ng staff nyo na bumubulong sa inyo. Sorry, can I just finish my question? I'm asking how you intend to ensure, given that this is a unhealthy product, that it poses its own set of health exposures to people who will use it. How do you intend to somehow make it as, I don't know, how do you intend to roll this out? Because the registration and everything that has to do with the safety component is in the hands of DTI.
Under the law and under the IRR, all products that will fall into this category will undergo certification. And
How do you intend to do the certification, Mr. President, Mr. Secretary? That's my question. How will you do that? What kind of certification? How does one get certified? How does an e-cigarette product get certified?
well, we are coordinating with the other agencies, of course, the FDA, and there will be a testing protocol that will be established.
Okay, may I ask how the testing protocol will be established? Will you handle that, or will you let FDA handle that?
Well, as I mentioned, if we don't have the competence, we will have to rely on other agencies to provide us.
So are you saying
inputs.
that so are you now saying that when it comes to the testing of vapes and e-cigs, you will rely on FDA
no,
for
sir.
the testing of
On
these products?
the devices, we have the expert.
I don't mind, Mr. Secretary. Do you want your whoever's sitting beside you to answer? I don't mind. If she's the expert, I don't mind. Kasi ganun din. Siya din naman
I'll give you the one directly in charge of this, Yusek Ruth Castello.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Thank you.
Yusek Ruth.
Oh, hi, Senator Pia. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. Ma'am, the Bureau of Philippine Standards has the capacity to test the products, the nicotine devices that will be imported to the Philippines or manufactured locally. We have a testing laboratory under the Bureau of Philippine Standards. We also already have the testing equipment that we have purchased as soon as this was being discussed in the House of Representatives and the Senate, ma'am.
And so you're referring to the nicotine devices. So what about the flavors or the refills?
Also, all consumables, if there are no issues on health, will fall under the DTI as well. And we will also have to prepare for testing equipment and other capabilities, of course, the expertise that will be used for the products. The implementing rules and regulations are already circulated, and we already have coordinated with the Food and Drug Authority. The public consultation is scheduled this week, ma'am, on Wednesday, including private stakeholders.
Secretary, I'd like you to answer this question directly. Yusek Ruth mentioned that in her first statement, she referred to PPI's ability to handle the nicotine devices. And then upon my further inquiry, her response, when I asked how about the refills or the flavors, and her response is PPI will also handle that if there are no health issues. How would you know that there are no health issues? They have to be tested for you to determine if there are health issues. So how do you make that preliminary distinction for you to determine that you will handle it? How can you even say if there are no health issues? And this product is itself a health product as defined by the FDA law, which may affect health.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I correct it. If there are no health claims on the product, the testing will fall under the DTI. If there are health claims on the product themselves, it's the FDA that will do the certification and testing, ma'am.
From my understanding, and I said I'd like the secretary to answer this, all flavors have health claims. They use hundreds, dozens of flavors in there. Each and every one has to be dissected to determine if there are any health issues in the ingredient itself or in the combination of the use of ingredients. So how will you make the preliminary determination when you're saying that if there are no health claims, kayo mag-handle? So how do you make those initial health claims? How will you determine that? Without going to FDA first.
Health issues or health claims will have to be addressed in consultation with FDA.
So are you saying, Your Honor, all flavors will pass through FDA now?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that will be the case.
Oh, well, it matters to me how it concerns you because you're the secretary. So if you will say that it will pass through FDA, then I will be very happy with that answer.
This was in the IR.
Right.
So
Well, the IRR will draw the line, as to which aspect. If there is any health claim, then definitely we'll have to consult with the FDA.
Mr. Secretary, are you aware that in the US, 50,000 flavors, I will repeat, 50,000 flavors were rejected by the US FDA because they did not comply with the health standards. They could not prove that they would not be detrimental to health. Are you aware of that, Mr. Secretary? And if you're not, it's okay. I mean, I don't know how much you follow this vape issue. I just want to know if you're aware of that or not.
50,000.
No, I'm not aware that there are 50,000 flavors.
Yeah, I will ask my team to show it on the slide to show it the slide now. There's a lot of articles. I have your phone number, Mr. Secretary. I will also send you those articles showing that 50,000 flavors. And this is like 6 months ago or maybe even a year ago na. Almost a year ago, 50,000 flavors. Siguro ngayon nadagdagan pa kasi at that time, 50,000 flavors in the US. Na ganun nakataas yung standard. So, given that let's assume, I assume you can trust that what I'm saying is accurate because I have articles that I will show you any minute that my staff can put it show it in public now. But I've showed it repeatedly many times. I would think Yusek Ruth is familiar with that, no? Yusek Ruth, familiar ka?
Yes, ma'am.
Oo, so 50,000 flavors. Ikaw na rin lang naman ang sumasagot ng mga tanong. And this is FDA. So do I assume that DTI recognizes this issue and will therefore, as the secretary said, work with FDA and allow FDA to scrutinize these products to ensure that the Filipino people are not bombarded with these kind of flavors that will be extremely harmful to health? Can I expect that based on the answer of the secretary?
Yes.
I will read to you, Madam Senator, the provision in the IRR. Other products intended to be used as substitutes for cigarettes in whatever form, which are not made partially or wholly of tobacco leaf as raw material and do not contain nicotine from tobacco when not in aerosol form, shall be covered by the rules and regulations of the FDA.
And when you say they will be covered by the rules and regulations, so therefore sila na yung magte-test and sila na yung magse-certify. Kasi there may be general rules and regulations, but if it's another body that will be testing it, then those rules and regulations may not be followed.
the standards for testing will have to be set in coordination with FDA. With respect to those items, as mentioned in the paragraph I read, are concerned.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, well, anyway, let me just show you this thing that I'm pointing out. No? Hindi, mali pa pala yung sinabi ko, 50,000. 55,000 flavors were banned by the US FDA. So anyway, you already gave me a reply that's quite satisfactory to me, that you will rely on the FDA for the rules and regulations, and you will also rely on them for the testing. Tama ba yung sinagot nyo? Ay, tama ba rinig ko dito sa last statement nyo? You will rely on them for what was that?
We will coordinate with the FDA on the standards to be followed for the testing.
Okay, so such that you are assuring me that the highest standards that will be available to mankind will be ensured by TTI in the testing of these products that we are going to make available to the Filipino people as young as 18 years old.
Surely, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I'm satisfied with that answer for now, Mr. Chairman. As I said, I have other questions. If I have time to catch you again later, I will do so. But if not, thank you for the responses of the DTI Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Cayetano. At this point, I'd like to recognize Senator De La Rosa, who's online, who's joining us online. Senator, do you have any questions?